everyone, and welcome to another edition of We Are Not Entertained. My name is Tommy Hailey. I'd like to say, how was everyone's week? Mine was pretty good. I mean, there was a moment where my grandma accidentally left the stove on overnight and almost set our house on fire. So that was something. Yeah, that was something. But I digress. This isn't something that would be saved something for BTT. This is Wayne we were talking about. So we will talk about wrestling stuff. We will start off with something that happened over this past week. There was actually two major things that happened in wrestling this past week. Number one, we'll start with this. CM Punk is injured. I'm just going to get that Band-Aid off. I'm going to rip it off. Just rip that Band-Aid off. CM Punk is injured. I believe he injured his foot. Probably because he was trying to do 3 fucking buckshot lariats and then try to do a top rope, jump off the top rope on Wednesday's show when they were in L.A. Sorry, Inglewood, because I think they were in the Forum. I mean, yeah, of course. CM Punk is like 42. CM Punk's 42, by the way. My man can't do a buckshot lariat. He tried doing it like 2 or 3 times. I mean, he was pseudo-successful on one of those. But during his match against Hangman, he's like, I'm never doing this fucking move again, or something like that. So anyway, I believe he has a foot injury. Now, no, per Tony Khan, he has not relinquished the title. Instead, what they're going to do is, first of all, I'd also like to say, AEW Dynamite is going to be here in Kansas City. We will not be attending because, one, we had no idea they were going to be in Kansas City this week. Like, at all. Like, period. Like, I had no idea they were going to be in Kansas City. Brock told me, as of this recording on Sunday, that they are going to be in Kansas City for Dynamite on Wednesday. Anyway, whatever. I digress. So, to start the episode of Dynamite, they're going to hold a Battle Royal, and the winner of that will face who was supposed to be the number one contender in Jon Moxley to CM Punk's title, will face the number one contender later that night on Dynamite. And then the winner of that will face Hiroshi Tanahashi at Forbidden Door to be crowned the interim AEW champion. There's a lot of ways. There's a lot of things they can do with this. There's a lot of ways they can do this. One, they can just play it safe, have someone win the Battle Royal, then lose to Jon Moxley, and then have Jon Moxley win the interim title. To me, that seems like the safest bet. One, I mean, yeah, I get it'd be cool to see Hiroshi Tanahashi hold a different belt than, an IWGP one. I think he's held other belts elsewhere. But, you want to keep it someone that's here localized, that's on the roster, I should say. That's, talent on the roster and is a go-to. Another side of me wants Jon Moxley just to be the interim champion, just because of how kind of he had a very... It sucks for me to say he had somewhat of a lackluster reign during, the pandemic era. And it would be really cool to see him be the first 2-time champion. Granted, there's going to be an asterisk next to that because this time he'll be, an interim champion. And then, when CM Punk comes back from his injury, someone will be crowned undisputed champion. So, there's that. There's another one that I think that a lot of people might... I just don't know how to feel about it. It's... they could go so many ways with this. They could just do the safe one and give it to Jon Moxley. They could go on a flyer and pick Andrade. They could do Lance Archer. I'm still reminded of certain other Archer people before this. Lance Archer. I already said Andrade. I think Adam Cole's injured too. 4 of their top stars were injured. Adam Cole, injured. Who else? Punk, injured. Kenny Omega's just MIA right now. I forget who the fourth person is. Samoa Joe would be a very interesting one. That's a styles clash. If Samoa Joe wins the Battle Royal and then beats Moxley to become the new number one contender, or the person to face Tanahashi, that would be such a no pun intended style, like a clash of styles between the two. Because if people watched Hiroshi Tanahashi, by the way, he's 45 years old. Yes, I looked this up. If Punk didn't get injured, Hiroshi Tanahashi is 3 years older than CM Punk. 3 years. Hiroshi is 45, and Punk is 42. And look at Hiroshi. That man is still going strong. He is the ace, man. They don't call him the ace for nothing. Let's see. I said Samoa Joe. Who else? I mean, Jericho would be a really weird one right now, especially with the stuff he's doing with Eddie Kingston and all that, like the Jericho Appreciation Society. Then there's one I think that might not surprise a lot of people, and they might do this because of how hot he is. One, Maxwell Jacob Friedman. And you know what? I might as well just talk about it right now. So, on said previous Wednesday's Dynamite, when they were in the Forum in California, in Los Angeles, it was, first book that, MJF would speak, about what happened, after his match against Wardlow, his squash against Wardlow. So, I don't know how to explain this the best. Let's just say, a Punk-esque pipe bomb. He was just, firing live rounds. That's all I can really say about it. The man, you know what, I'm going to say it. He called Tony Khan a fucking mark and basically said he's hoarding all the money to sign ex-WWE guys, and basically was saying what everyone else was fucking thinking. And so here's what MJF kind of took expired to. One, the CM Punk pipe bomb promo where he was just throwing live rounds, and I mean those were live rounds, by the way, on the mic. He basically was criticizing Tony, certain people in the back, I don't know who. He was criticizing the fans. Notice how that's I'm put that as a key point, by the way. And then basically criticizing Tony, one, for not signing him, and two, for giving all the money that he has to the ex-WWE guys. Which is, in some part, very truthful. Now, granted, I also have to take very clear notes that this is MJF we're talking about. Most of the stuff that he does is a complete work sometimes. He can work a crowd, and he can work people like it's nothing. Case in point, leading up to the match against Wardlow, where he no-showed a fan event, and then basically almost pretty much booked himself a flight out of Vegas that night to no-show the event. And all the stuff that's also been happening backstage with Tony, and all the grief, not talking about contract extensions, not signing him, all that. Now, there's some truth to that. It is very well stated that he has some issues with his contract and basically is looking at greener pastures. And also said, Tony, would you treat me better if I was an ex-WWE guy? And then he goes la-di-da-di-da, and he's like, I want you to fire me. Now, this is where he takes the Ric Flair promo back in Nitro with Bischoff, where he's like, I want you to fire me. Fire me, you fucking mark. And then that was just like, and then his mic cut out and all that, and it's like, man, that was some fucking heat. Oh. I think MJF's I mean, I would like to say this. That video's out there of the whole unscripted, uncensored, not washed down by, censors and all that stuff. The whole 8-minute promo of MJF just firing live ammunition, and just one of the best promos I have seen in a while. And might be his best promo ever. This is his Hard Times, pipe bomb, all that stuff. And he's only 20. I like to take note that MJF is only 26 years old, by the way. So he's still got a long way to go. He's still got some gas left in the tank, by the way. Back on the Battle Royal stuff to see who faces Hiroshi at Forbidden Door. It's going to be interesting to see what they do. Do you, like I said again, do you play it safe and just go with Jon Moxley and make him a 2-time champion, which is the smartest and safest one? Or do you take a flyer and give it to the person that is just completely molten, absolutely as hot as the sun, MJF, who, one, has the crowd behind him, has pretty much turned face inadvertently because of this promo. I would also like to say, after they went off air, after that promo, CM Punk came out, which was something. I don't think that was scripted. I guess Punk was pissed or something like that. I don't know. I'd also like to take note that I actually watched this Dynamite, and it was actually a really fucking good show. It was just, the crowd was just absolutely foaming at the mouth at everything. The crowd was just molten hot at everything. And it was just, the MJF pipe bomb was just the icing on the cake of how good that show was. Hiroshi Tanahashi coming out, CM Punk teaming up with FTR, by the way, which was something, and, it was just a good show all around. Plus, MJF is also doing one thing that is very hard to do in modern times of wrestling, is that's keeping your attention to him and only him, and making sure that he is blurring the lines of kayfabe, because, hey, is most of this stuff true? Yes, absolutely. But is some of the other stuff true? Who knows? Like, the stuff, case in point, the stuff about MJF, the stuff about MJF booking a flight out of Vegas the night of Double or Nothing was true. Sean Ross Sapp reported that was true, that there was a flight booked for MJF. That flight was never delayed at all by anything. So, yeah, there's that. I just think it's such a risky gamble. By the way, in order to keep kayfabe, they have removed MJF from the AEW site. You can't buy any of his merch. You cannot find him on the roster, at all. They have wiped him clean. They have wiped his name clean off everything, which, for certain things, they always do. For certain wrestlers that, are, extended in storylines and stuff like that. WWE has done that. AEW in the past has always done that. And then, WWE is still doing it. AEW is doing it again. And, it's going to be interesting to see. My heart wants MJF to be interim champion, because once CM Punk comes back and they have that feud again, that is going to be some of the most fantastic angle. This is going to be one of the most fantastic angles in AEW history, or just in wrestling history in general. If you look at their previous work together, the MJF basically copying the "I'm a Snake" promo from CM Punk back in his ROH days, and literally all of the callbacks from CM Punk's Ring of Honor days, the MJF stuff with CM Punk, the photo of CM Punk, the Rosie O'Donnell show, all that stuff was just, and then the dog collar match ending that feud was just the icing on top. Throw in the title, oh my god, it's gonna be even better. That would elevate their game. Now, granted, it's CM Punk, it's MJF, but just throw a title in the mix. You got something special there. You have something perfect there. My mind is saying Moxley, but my heart is saying MJF. I just think man, I just think the smart bet is just Jon Moxley just winning one, beating the person, whoever is in the Battle Royale. Now, no, actually, I can think of one other person. I don't know why. Hiroki Goto, for some reason. I don't know why. Knowing Tony Khan and how much of a fucking mark he is, I'm just gonna call him that now. I'm gonna call him Mr. Mark, because that sounds so much better. Knowing how much of New Japan he is, I just think, I don't know, it's just, he would do some shit like that. Making Hiroki Goto the interim interim AEW champion. I don't know why, but that's just something. That's just something they would do. Is there anything else? I mean, hold on. I'd also like to take note that I am recording this as of Hell in a Cell being on live right now. So how I am doing this is, one, I am doing this in two parts. I am recording this part right now. Note, Brock, you can probably take this part of the recording out of the podcast, because this will be a reference note for you. You can take this part out of the podcast and basically be, I'll say it after I do the ROH bookings and all that. And I'll be like, and now I will be right back as I will finish Hell in a Cell, and I will give my thoughts after it is over. So, yeah. All right, so now it is time for Brock's Bound by Honor. It is a very interesting one. It's his first pay-per-view. Let's see how he does. Let us start with the Bound by Honor card. It's obviously, we get a recap of what happened last week. Show intro, show the crowd, and then cut to Kevin Kelly and Matt Striker as they welcome us to the Alumni Arena in Buffalo, New York. We start off with Serena Deeb versus Deonna Purrazzo. Both women put on a spectacular match in a true clinic in what pro wrestling truly is. Purrazzo locks the Venus del Milo as Deeb is in desperation in her eyes. As Deeb, with desperation in her eyes, barely reaches the ropes for a break. As Deeb stands up in the corner, Purrazzo rushes her, misses the attack, and hits the exposed turnbuckle. Deeb pulls something out of her bra, and the ref catches it and takes it. As the ref does this, Deeb pulls brass knuckles out and whacks Deonna with them. Deeb hides the knuckles and hits the detox for the win. Serena, crying, grips her women's title as the fans boo. This match lasts 23 minutes. Now, granted, I want this match to actually happen in real fucking life, because that match would be a fucking humpa of a match. And I mean a humpa. Ooh, that's good. The next match, we have the Workhorsemen versus the Gun Club. Winner of this match is the Workhorsemen. The Gun Club rushes to the ring to start the match as Austin and Colton battle Anderson and Drake, and Billy fights Arn on the outside. Billy, I would like to be careful. That man is packing a gun, by the way. Be very careful. He does not pull the trigger. Brains go all over the concrete. I completely botched how he said that. I did that so shittily. Oh my god, that was so bad. Load the gun, point it at his head, pull the trigger, his brains blow out everywhere. Just be careful, Billy. The Workhorsemen slowly take back control of the match after a missed diving attack from Austin. The Workhorsemen hit the spike pile driver for the win in an 11-minute match. The Workhorsemen aren't content with just the win as they continue to beat the Gun Club down. The Varsity Blondes then come down to make the save as the Workhorsemen flee the ring. Did the Workhorsemen just turn? No, wait. I think they've been heel, actually. Never mind. So next we have Dak Draper's music hits as he is showered with booze as he says nothing as he awaits his opponent. Really missed opportunity to do the Tommaso Ciampa thing and just do no fucking music at all and just have him go to the ring with a belt and just get him showered with booze. That'd be even better. Just by the way, just throwing it out there. So that's my opinion. So, I mean, that would have been cool. Alrighty. We have we hear air raid sirens and then see on the screen a warning sign followed by a voice that says, "We are in the house of truth," as out comes Jay Lethal. So, the next match is Dak Draper versus Jay Lethal. Draper looks like he's seen a ghost before the match. Match starts. Lethal wastes no time taking control. The only time Dak takes control back is when Lethal misses an elbow drop. Draper tries everything he can to put Lethal down, but Lethal keeps getting back up and fighting. Finally, we see one of the masked attackers rush forward to the ring, but it doesn't look like they are here to attack Lethal, but are running away from something. A second one comes out as well, also running. We finally see the third as he is thrown from the heel entranceway to the stage. Out walks Calvin Tankman, who's pissed off and has his eyes locked on the other masked men. He walks down and continues to chase them as the third masked attacker hits him with a chair shot to the head. Unprotected? In this wrestling business? Nice. Calvin removes the chair from around his neck, flips the deadlocked back, and grabs the masked man and takes his head off with a spinning back fist. Lethal and the ref watching this whole time. Draper tries to go for the Draper bomb, but Lethal reverses it and hits the lethal injection. The ref is still trying to get the men outside of the men out of the pin. Wait, well, I fucked that up. The ref is still trying to get the men on the outside out of the arena. Lethal stands up out of the pin and goes towards the ref when a masked attacker hits him with a spear and rolls out of the ring. Draper grabs Lethal and hits the Draper bomb and retains his ROH TV title in a 21-minute match. Draper rolls out, picks up the masked attacker who got hit with the back fist, and all the masked attackers leave. While Lethal and Tankman are in the ring. Is that right? The catch point is in the ring as they wait Danhausen and his team. Danhausen comes out on the stage and looks nervous. Stark asks if Danhausen couldn't find anyone who wanted to team with him. Danhausen says, "Oh no, Danhausen has indeed found some friends to complete his Funhausen. PCO, man. PCO's music hits. Danhausen says, "I found an old friendhausen in the back, and another who has adopted him. Danhausen. Who has adopted him, Danhausen." Delirious themes hits. The catch points versus Funhausen. The catch point destroys Danhausen and co. And the match ends as Hook and has Danhausen in the red rum. Starks has Delirious in an arm bar, and Hobbs has PCO in a torture rag as all three men tap out in the 6-minute match. Well fucking done. That was hilarious. That's fucking hilarious. Alright, the next match is the FTR versus the Kingdom. This is tag team wrestling. No flips, no bullshit. This is Brock's word. Now, hold on. Let me stop. I'm gonna stop right there. Now, I would like to say that these are Brock's words, not mine. Not mine. I'm just simply reading off. I'm simply reading off what he booked and how he's booking it. I just give my opinion sometimes. I will announce winners, I will announce losers, I will announce matches that happen, and I will announce title changes. This is his and his, so he will die on the hill of his booking decisions. Will I question it sometimes? Yes. But if he puts it in all caps, he's going to defend it to the day he dies. Trust me. So, match 5, we have FTR versus the Kingdom, and it says this. This is tag team wrestling. No flips, no bullshit, just great wrestling. FTR looks to have the match won as they go for the Goodnight Express, but Maria gets on the apron. Cash heads over towards her. She grabs him and makes out with him. Meanwhile, Dax is nailed by the Kingdom Come. 1, 2, 3. The Kingdom are the new ROH Tag Team Champions. As the Kingdom head up to the ramp, celebrating, FTR sits in the ring. Cash hugs a sitting Dax as the ROH fans give them a standing ovation. FTR stands up, gives a bow, and waves to the crowd as they head backstage. After they are behind the curtain, we go to Kelly and Stryker. They recap the matches so far as we see both members of FTR get thrown out of the entranceway by the Briscoes. Jay's yelling, "You couldn't beat those sissy-ass bitches, could you? And now you think you just leave Ring of Honor? Hell no, boys. You gotta deal with your failures." Jay, Drilla, the Briscoes leave. So, next up, So I have what is happening next, but before he sends to me with redacted information. So I have this. Tully Blanchard comes out to the ramp with a microphone and says, "The time for talk has passed. My work is to be done. No one has been able to guess who my client is." That is including me, by the way. Like, I have no fucking clue who it is. Like, no, this is, like, seriously me genuine saying I have no idea who it is. Like, "It is someone near and dear to my heart, a wrestler who has been followed by unjust controversy." The crowd groans. "Let me show you the face of ROH's destruction." Where is it? We hear undeniable over the speakers as the crowd becomes restlessly booing profusely, and as out walks Tessa Blanchard. Tully gives her a kiss on the cheek as they both walk down to the ring. Now, I don't know how to feel about this myself. I honestly have no idea how to feel about this. I got this information today because days prior he redacted this information. I got the information unredacted today. And when I first saw it, I didn't know how to feel about it, and I still don't really know how to feel about it. Cause it's Tessa Blanchard. Like, it's Tessa Blanchard. Is she a good wrestler? Yes. Is she a fucking pain in the ass to deal with in the locker room? From certain reports, when she was Impact World Champion and then Women of Wrestling, yes, abso-fucking-lutely, she is a fucking difficult piece of shit to work with. Has she had her controversies? Yes, absolutely. I just don't know how to feel about it, man. I just don't know how to feel about it. I thought it was going to be a guy, but it turns out it was his fucking daughter. So, yeah, there's that. So, match 6 is Tessa Blanchard versus Lindsay Bowden. Blanchard beat the hell out of Lindsay and quickly hits the Diamond Maker. It's a saving grace with a pin, by the way. As Tessa wins and poses with her dad next to her with nothing, but he has nothing with proudness in his eyes, basically. Okay, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. It's going to be very interesting to see. Very interesting to see. God, I just don't know how to feel about it. So, next up is the main event of the ROH Championship match between Jonathan Gresham and Bandito. Gresham and Bandito put on a clinic in what ROH was from 2016 to 2021. Fast-paced, high-flying action, pulling out all the flippy bullshit. Oh, come on. Just come on. Flippy bullshit with good, sound technical wrestling. Bandito goes for the 21 plex on Gresham, but Gresham flips over on it and catches Bandito in the octopus stretch for the win. An exhausted Gresham lays in the middle of the ring. Just as he gets up to celebrate, the three masked men jump him from behind and start to beat him down. Jay Lethal rushes into the ring to try to save his former tag team partner, but is still 3-on-2, and he gets beat down too. Calvin Tankman then makes his way down, and the fight has flipped in Gresham, Lethal, and Tankman's favor when Draper, with a pipe, and the fourth mass attacker join in. 5-on-3 provides to be too much for them as Draper and his mass attackers hit a flying big boot on Lethal and Draper with his Draper bomb on Gresham. After Tankman gets put through the announce table, Draper stands over Gresham and holds the ROH TV title up and sees some new gold on the mat and picks up the ROH Championship. He smiles and holds both championships in the air as the crowd turns almost riotous as Draper has all of his mass attackers, and the smallest one has one arm on his chest, and he looks down and gives the masked person a kiss on the lips as we fade to black. Excuse me? One of them is a girl? I'll read this again, by the way. Draper has all of his masked attackers, and the smallest one has one arm on his chest as he looks down and gives the masked person a kiss on the lips as we fade to black. So one of the mass attackers is Dak Draper's love interest, girlfriend, something. We don't know who it is, because that's how the show ends, by the way. Very decently booked match. Very decently booked card, if I do say so myself. Very decently booked. I mean, it's still having me guess who the hell these mass attackers are. I mean, the answers we don't have is, one, who the hell is the commissioner? And two, who are these mass attackers? It's definitely not the aces and eights angle he's using. This is totally not the aces and eight angle, by the way. No disrespect to that angle, because when it first started, that was amazing. But no disrespect to this angle, by the way. I feel like this is a stable, by the way. Like, Dak Draper has his own stable and is basically keeping the members of said stable anonymous at the moment. Who knows? Maybe next week we'll find out who these people are, who the commissioner is. I don't know. So, this is going to do it for part one of We Are Not Entertained, because Hell in a Cell is happening right now. And I'm going to record this in two parts. So I will see you guys back when Hell in a Cell is over. So I'll be back in just a few minutes. Alrighty, and I'm back from finishing Hell in a Cell. And I've got to say, pretty decent pay-per-view. I mean, to be fair, I'd like to take note that I was recording the first part while it was on mute on my TV. So the only two matches I'm going to talk about is the opening match between Bianca Belair, Asuka, and Becky Lynch. What an opening match, if I do say so myself. So they are in Chicago, by the way, for this show. They are in Chicago for this show. So this crowd is obviously going to be changing whoever they're going to root for at the drop of a hat. It is Chicago, so you never know what to expect with them. Surprisingly, they contained themselves. I don't think I heard a single CM Punk chant at all, which is something, which is a sight to behold, especially with the Chicago crowd. I mean, the opening match was really good. Bianca, Asuka, and Becky mesh very well together. They work very well together. Those three work very well together in the ring, and they had a very good sound, technical, choreographed match, if I do say so myself. I mean, Bianca picks up the win. They're going to keep the belt on her for a bit. It depends on what happens with the women's Money in the Bank ladder match and who the hell they're going to have it. I honestly think Bayley might come back and then cash in and win that title from her, but that's me. But yeah, it was a pretty good match to start. Now, here's the thing that was supposed to change. So the order of how this goes was Raw Women's Championship, Ezekiel versus Kevin Owens, then the 2-on-1 handicap match, the mixed triple threat tag match, the U.S. title match. Yes, that's right. We have a U.S. title. We actually had the U.S. title match on a pay-per-view. And then the no DQ match between Corbin and Madcap. And then, main event, which is Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. I will get to that in a second. So the next match, they changed the thing. So Bobby versus Omos and MVP was going on second. And then they just flipped. The 2 and 3 spots flipped. So number 3 was now going second, and number 2 was going third now. Anyway, I mean, there's nothing really to miss. Bobby basically picks up the win with Cedric Alexander interference. Yes, he actually graced us not once, but twice on the pay-per-view to show up. And basically WWE saying there will be no more Hurt Business anymore. That is done. We are putting a fork in it. It is cooked. So, yeah. Is that disappointing? Yes. Was it nice to see Cedric Alexander twice on my screen? Absolutely. But I mean, this match was okay. It's Green Giant and MVP. Bobby picks up the win and all that. The next match is Ezekiel versus Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens swears this is Elias, even though it is completely not Elias. It is Elias's younger twin brother, Ezekiel. Like, I don't get it. I mean, he hates liars. But, like, I don't understand why he's lying to himself, thinking this is Elias. It's clearly not Elias. They don't look anything alike. One has a scruffy-looking beard. The other one is clean-shaven. So, I just, look, there's no different. There's, like, completely differences there. Like, they even took a lie detector test, and he was telling the truth. Ezekiel is not Elias. Like, at all. At all. Anyway, I think Ezekiel picks up the win here. So I was recording the first part of Wayne while that match was happening. So, yeah, there's that. The next match was the mixed tag match between the team of the Ministry of Darkness. Judgment Day, which is Edge, Rhea Ripley, and Damian Priest, going up against two members of Bullet Club and Liv Morgan. And, of course, they decided to sneak in that, yes, Finn Balor and AJ Styles were members of Bullet Club. Way to go. And Liv Morgan was also there. So I guess technically she is now a member of Bullet Club. Technically, by technicality, because she's teaming up with one of the founders and one of the original leaders of Bullet Club, and then the one person that just put Bullet Club to the mainstream media. Anyway, Judgment Day picks up the win here. I wasn't paying attention during this match because, again, I was recording the first part of Wayne while this match was happening. Whatever. There's nothing else we actually had the United States title was actually defended on a pay-per-view. And that is insane to think. That is so crazy to think. It was Mustafa Ali, who is from Chicago, by the way, going up against Austin Theory. Or Theory now. I think that's what he goes by. So, anyway, Austin Theory wins. Of course, the crowd was behind Mustafa Ali. Of course, it sucks that he didn't get the win. But it was nice to see the United States title on a pay-per-view, by the way. Small baby steps. We got baby steps here. Baby steps. Just the small little baby steps we gotta take. That was it. Madcap Moss won his no DQ match. I really didn't really care for that match. It was just, two men beating the shit out of each other before Hell in a Cell. And then Hell in a Cell. So I'd like to take note that as of this recording, the pay-per-view ended. I'm just going to say it. Cody Rhodes beat Seth Rollins in Hell in a Cell for the third time, and they're not going to wrestle each other anymore. Here's the kicker, though. A couple of hours before the pay-per-view, it was reported and confirmed by WWE that Cody Rhodes suffered a torn pectoral muscle in his right arm. It was first reported that it was from a live event somewhere, I think in Champaign or something, Champaign, Illinois, something like that. But it wasn't. He was pulled from said live event and replaced with Drew McIntyre. But how he injured it is from doing some weight exercises or weightlifting or just basically training for this match. And he tore that pectoral clean off. And guess what? This was Michael Jordan flu game. What else? Kurt Schilling in Game 6 of the ALCS. Paul Pierce coming back to play in the NBA Finals. I forget what game it was. That kind of stuff. And there are pictures out there. Holy hell, that thing was so just, it was disgusting. And you can feel the air just come out of the Allstate Arena like a big giant gasp when everyone saw how fucked up his pectoral was. That thing was straight purple like Thanos. And guess what? This match had no right to be as good as it was. They pulled out all the stops. Seth was an absolute heat magnet, channeling his inner MJF by 1, wearing polka dots to the ring, and 2, using a belt that had polka dots all over it, and was just taunting, just basically shitting on the Rhodes family legacy with, the polka dots and all that stuff. And then Cody decides himself to bring out a freaking bull rope. Yes, we had a tiny little bull rope match in the middle of a Hell in a Cell match, by the way. I would also like to take note that this was, so the referee that was in there was the same referee that called for a disqualification in the Hell in a Cell match a couple of years ago when The Fiend was just lying there prone and Seth was just literally throwing fucking everything at him, including sledgehammers, ladders, tables, chairs, a toolbox, and then a sledgehammer, which ended up being the disqualification. They did a tiny bull rope match in the middle of a Hell in a Cell match. Now, I've seen men jump off of the Hell in a Cell, go through Hell in a Cell, get thrown off of it. I'm looking at you, man. I'm looking at you, Mick Foley. Get thumbtacks, get choke slammed into thumbtacks, lose teeth. Basically, get closer to death, I should say. Cody Rhodes is a fucking machine, dude. Like, I don't know what the hell. He was probably hopped up on some stuff. Because remember, like I said, he tore the pectoral muscle clean off the bone. Like, clean off. And you can tell that shit was hurting. And Seth actually, was kind of like using that to his advantage. Just, weakening the pectoral muscle even more. And, like, it just got to the point where, like, he couldn't even, like lift his entire right arm. It got that bad. Like, he was handicapped. He literally handicapped himself. I mean, it wasn't intentional to do this. I believe this was a complete freak accident. And it's just like, it was just that he went through that much, he was going through that much pain. He got put through a table, was doing all the bull rope stuff, got whipped like 2 or 3 times, took a couple of kendo sticks, a crossroads. What else? He was running into the cell walls a bunch. Right arm first to make the pectoral muscle even more injured. Dude, he was just getting his ass beat, and of course there must be a dog in that pectoral muscle that he had, because he got a dog in him. Like, he just, like, mustered up some adrenaline. He just had adrenaline just going through him. And it was just, he did 2 crossroads. He did a pedigree on Seth, because remember, they the first 2 matches they face each other, they both teased a pedigree. And I believe Seth also hit a pedigree. Seth hit a pedigree. Cody hit a pedigree. Both were kicked out of. And then, Seth pulled out a sledgehammer. Seth was unsuccessful in using it. Then Cody picked it up, and he just could not lift it. That pectoral muscle said, nah, we ain't lifting this thing. And he just straight dropped it, and it was in pain. I mean, that was straight pain. Of course, there was some idiot on Twitter being like, is this injury fake? And then Sean was like, nope, this thing is real as can be. And I would also like to say, Cody picks up the win after 2 crossroads and a sledgehammer shot. He also bonks Seth Rollins on the head with a cowbell. And you can hear the bonk on it. Now, here's the thing. There were some crazy people thinking, a week or 2 ago, I forgot to say this in the news portion, that Wyndham Rotunda or Bray Wyatt was talking about returning to wrestling, as well as an unrelated note, Cesaro is returning. It is looking most likely like WWE, but on the thing of Bray Wyatt, they said he said himself, I'm like ready to return or something like that. So of course people thought, Hell in a Cell, we could see the Fiend, yet no, I hate to get your hopes up, but that was never ever gonna happen. And of course people were mad at Sean, be like, what about the Fiend? We're like, and Sean tweeted, we never even reported that he was gonna be at said venue. He's probably wherever he's at, just at home enjoying dinner with his family, and probably asleep right now, as of because it's 10:41. He might be asleep right now, so he could care less about wrestling. But yeah, I mean, Hell in a Cell, all in all, was a overall good pay-per-view. It wasn't great. I mean, there were two great. I mean, the opener and the finisher were the two matches of the night, if I do say so myself. One is that the opener was fast-paced, high action, and the crowd was just so over with. Like, the crowd was just getting behind Bianca and Asuka. They're just so. Bianca's special, man. She's so special. And then, of course, Chicago being the AEW town it is. Of course, they also referenced All Out, by the way, because I believe they run All Out in the venue that they were doing Hell in a Cell. And Corey referenced that. He's like, in the 6 years he was gone, he was wrestling here in the place, I forget what it's called. In the place during those 6 years. It's like, and I was like, did he make this reference All Out? They did, didn't they? And, I mean, overall, like, the finisher, the opener, and then the main event are two matches of the night. So, yeah, those are my thoughts on Hell in a Cell. It was a good pay-per-view. Either way, that's going to do it for this episode of We Are Not Entertained. I have been Tommy Hailey. You can find me on Twitter at dude_rex14. On the docket this week, I don't know if Macy's going to do CSP this week. I believe she just came back from vacation from Flagstaff, Arizona. So I know she will be on Big Time Talkers this week, so we will have that. We're probably going to be talking about hockey, the top fives, the Knicks, that kind of stuff that we always do, and other things. So, you can follow the channel at BCardYT on Twitter. The B, the C, the Y, and the T are all capitalized. You can listen to Big Time Talkers on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. But Wayne, you can listen on YouTube. But yeah, that's going to be doing it. So, I'm Tommy Hailey. Have a good night. Drink some water.